Wang Baochuan, who endured 18 years of hardship in a cold cave, was reborn. She returned to the age of 15. Once again it was time for the matchmaking ceremony, where she would toss an embroidered ball from a decorated tower. This time she looked down at Xue Pingue, who was dressed plainly and confident he would catch the ball. She reached out and threw the ball. As before, it flew perfectly on course and landed securely in his arms. The young man's face was filled with joy, but the corner of her mouth curled into a cold smile. "My dear Xue, this fateful ball, you better hold on tight." Her father angrily asked if she was truly willing to give up the wealth and status of the Prime Minister's mansion for this poor boy. Her father, the Prime Minister, was so angry his mustache seemed to twitch. He simply could not understand why his treasured daughter would favor a young beggar. Her mother and sisters pleaded with her earnestly. Even her second sister, who usually didn't get along with her, also objected. "Her parents have cherished you for over a decade." Her second sister said she was ungrateful to throw it all away for a worthless poor guy. The whole family looked at her with disappointment and helplessness. It had been the same in her past life. Back then, to prove a point, to show that Xue Pingue was not incompetent, and that her judgment was sound, she had publicly struck her father's palm 3 times, abandoning her identity as the third daughter of the Prime Minister's mansion, leaving behind a life of luxury to follow him into a cold cave dwelling. She had told herself that even though the cave was broken, true love could overcome all hardships. After all, Xue Pingue was the man she had chosen. He was no worse than her brothers-in-law, but she forgot that what Xue Pingue desired was the privileged third daughter of the Prime Minister's mansion, not Wang Baochuan, the impoverished woman. So in this life, forget about love. Wang Baochuan only wanted revenge and to climb to the highest position. So once again she resolutely extended her hand toward her father's palm. First strike. Her mind flashed to her past life when she was being hunted and lost her child. What was Xue Pingue doing back then? Was he perhaps sharing a romantic moment under the moonlight with Princess Daizhan of Xiliang? Second strike. She recalled how she had stayed in the cold cave caring for his sworn siblings, surviving on wild greens for 18 years, while he lived in luxury in Xiliang with children by his side. Third strike. She remembered the day she was crowned empress, when he intended to act against her. Her parents and relatives knelt and kowtowed in the grand hall, yet he showed the utmost respect to the Empress Dowager of Xiliang, repeatedly calling her mother and personally helping her rise. After the 3 strikes, her mother nearly fainted from crying. Her eldest sister sobbed uncontrollably in her husband's arms. Her second sister angrily called her a fool, saying she wouldn't listen to the family's good advice and would suffer endless hardship in the future. Only Xue Pingue, standing nearby, looked at her with pleasant surprise. "Baochuan," he said, "I never knew you loved me so deeply." She intertwined her fingers with his affectionately, ignoring her family's lamentations. "Yes, my dear Xue, I love you this much. I hope you won't let me down." Deeply moved, Xue Pingue raised his hand and swore an oath. "If I ever betray my virtuous wife, may I suffer a terrible fate and meet a grim end." She couldn't help but throw herself into his arms, hiding the hatred in her eyes, wishing his oath would come true right then. A terrible fate, a grim end. Leaving the lavish Prime Minister's mansion, she followed Xue Pingue to the dilapidated cold cave. It was stifling hot in summer and bitterly cold in winter. This was the place where she had lived for 18 years in her past life. The Wang Baochuan, who remained loyal to her husband, became a laughingstock when he returned with Daizhan and their children. Everyone mocked her for being too lovesick, but at that time she had thought Daizhan was just luckier than her, having parents to rely on, and thus spared the hardships of love, because she was the only princess of Xiliang, while Wang Baochuan was not her parents' only daughter. As soon as she entered the cave, 3 people immediately gathered around her. Gu Deguqing and Zhang Wei circled her, looking her over, marveling at her as if she were a goddess descended from heaven. They praised Xue Pingue, saying, "Big brother Xue, you really have skills to actually marry the daughter of the Prime Minister's mansion." A flicker of pride crossed Xue Pingui's face as he pulled her into his embrace, basking in everyone's admiration and praise. Yet his words remained as humble as ever. "It's all thanks to Baochuan for not looking down on me. From now on, I promise you'll have a life better than before." He was still the same, having nothing to his name, yet always quick to make grand promises. And so that very night, with no preparations, she and Xue Pingue held a simple wedding ceremony witnessed by these few people. Simple was an understatement. It was utterly crude. There were no wedding dresses or formal attire, no blessings from family, just 3 people cheering and celebrating on the side, as excited as if it were New Year's. Had she not known about his past life and the nationally celebrated wedding he had with Daizhan, she might have continued to indulge in that trivial bond forged in hardship, and kept fooling herself. Now she only felt deep humiliation. After completing all the rituals, the moment she had been waiting for finally arrived. The wedding night.